This is the Player 4 Podcast. Join us each week as we talk about video games, entertainment, and pop culture, and bring in guests from the Rooster Teeth community. Player 4 has entered the game.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Player 4 Podcast that we just said the name of like 3 seconds ago. I'm great at intros.
Yeah. Hello, I am Alex, aka Chaos Black 21 on the Rooster Teeth website.
And I'm Tristan. I'm Malachi, aka Sukikiba.
Wait, how are you? You're Malachi, but you think you're Tristan? Did you absorb Tristan's consciousness into your own body?
Well, usually he comes before us, so it just felt wrong not having it.
Well, we do miss Tristan, but he's exhausted. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, but who are you? I believe we missed the last person to introduce themselves.
I'm the special guest.
I mean, lately you seem to be a special guest because we haven't had you often anymore.
Well, I'm Joseph, aka Jay Dunlap, and I'm not a special guest. I'm not special. I'm just one of the hosts.
No, you're not special. You're just a guest.
I'm not special. I'm just a guest. Yeah.
You're a regular guest that comes on every podcast unless for some reason you're busy.
You mean like when my internet's not working or I have a rehearsal or something like that?
Yeah,
or
like tonight.
Family that you're taking care of.
Yeah, we are recording half an hour early right now because of the rehearsal I have tonight. This rehearsal is going to go to 11 at night.
Ooh. Wait.
Yeah.
What's that, like 4
needless
hours?
to say, I'm not teaching Black Morning. Well, no. Learn to math. It starts at 8 and it goes to 11.
3 hours.
Oh, wait, I was thinking my 11.
If this was music, that would be 4, but it's not music.
So the Tawpix, as Joseph on the screen.
Our Tawpix, our Tawpix for today.
Tawpix. That's going to be on the screen when I list them off. The first one is something happened with my internet. Joseph wants to know about it. The next is Joseph with the Pokemon trading card game and Magic the Gathering. He's going to talk a bit about that and his experiences, I guess, lately. RTX London, the weekend as we're recording. It'll already be done by the time this comes out. Lots of time differential. Streamys happened recently, and Rooster Teeth won a few Streamys during that. Finally, we are getting the flip out of here, which seems to have become a staple of the Player 4 podcast. So I guess we'll start with the internet issue.
Yeah, Alex, you guys have hinted at this for a few episodes, but apparently it must have been discussed during your D&D game. I want to know what happened with the internet.
So in the past, my internet was pretty terrible. I would robot a lot. I wouldn't be able to hear everyone necessarily all the time. If someone posted a picture while we're chatting in Skype, then all of a sudden my Skype would be like, I don't like this, and it would just hate me. But now I was able to get decent internet. I can actually get pictures on Skype and the call won't be all screwed up. I haven't had any drops. I can actually play online games now. It's gotten so much better. Hopefully now when we play Minecraft, it won't be all screwed up for me. Still probably have the issue of recording on my end.
Still won't be able to do capture.
I don't know. I probably just need to really go through and delete all my stuff, like a whole bunch of stuff from my laptop so I can start saving videos again. But hopefully it won't be all laggy and I'll actually be able to see what people are doing better.
So all in all, does it feel good?
Yeah, it feels great. I've been playing a lot of Destiny 2 and Battlefield mostly, but I would like to, get into some computer games maybe if I can, and other Xbox games. It would be nice if I could stream with Tristan as we started Halo, but we have no way of doing that with Xbox and being able to record our voices while showing our video. So
yeah, I remember that. I remember Tristan said something about that, where if you record or stream from Xbox One, it only records your input and not the call.
Yeah, I don't know. There's obviously some way to do it because people do it on Twitch. The best way would probably be to hook up through a computer. I'm sure you'd be able to use OBS for that then, but because I don't have a computer really to hook my Xbox up to, I don't know what Tristan has. I mean, it wouldn't matter because I can't do it anyways myself. So that's kind of out of the picture for now.
Are you unable to stream even with your good internet?
I haven't tried. I haven't tried Twitch at all on Xbox. They have a new streaming service. Instead of Twitch, they use Mixer. I haven't tried that either. I kind of didn't really want to delve into it yet. So
well, here live on the podcast, I'm going to suggest that you try that, because if you just stream and save the archive, then I have both sides of the call and I can meld the audio. The issue then becomes game sounds would not be possible. So the workaround there is if you just recorded your audio via a microphone hooked up to your computer and just recorded on Audacity.
Mm-hmm.
And I mostly said that on the podcast just in case people are trying to figure that out themselves. There are workarounds. Just hook up your microphone to the computer, for example, and just talk into a microphone with your mouth hole.
With your mouth hole. Well, couldn't you just rip the audio of the voice and the game off of one and leave that as one piece, and then just completely mute the separate? No, never mind. That would probably be a lot of work. Separate
with overlapping voices. That's impossible.
Is it? Okay.
But I wouldn't. At some point, I wouldn't mind. Since I have better internet now, I might be able to get more Steam games. I'd like to try some of the indie games and maybe stream that, and get Alex, aka Chaos Black, into the mix of streaming like Mal and Tristan have been.
Well, the thing with me, Tristan likes to do it, but personally for me, I don't give a crap people watching me play a game. I'm playing a game to play the damn game. I don't care what other people think, and I'm not getting impressive skills to be, oh, look what I can do. That's just not me.
Yeah, we also love our patrons very, very much, so we give them extra content.
Well, that's why I do it with Tristan, is because, it's something that's for them to be interested in. But for me,
when you do it with Tristan, that's extra content because our patrons want to see you do it with Tristan.
I'm not proactive about it. That's my thing. It's I'll do it, cool, but I'm not oh, I got to get this up and do this.
I do really wish we could stream our Halo, because there were some funny moments. There's actually one moment I recorded that I need to connect my Twitter to my Xbox so then I can post the video to my Twitter. It was pretty freaking hilarious.
Although I can say that I do like sharing my fun experiences during a game. Just those funny moments. Speaking
of special content for our patrons, I started this new thing last week. And no, I'm not talking about 5-question interviews because that's not new.
That was a few weeks ago.
Yeah, that was last week when we did that.
You've done a 5 questions interview before that, though.
Yeah, I've done 3 now.
Yeah.
No, the thing was when I was editing 5-question interviews last week, I thought, it'd be kind of cool to do a video capture. I screwed it up. I did a window capture instead of a monitor capture, so it wasn't showing the dialogue boxes I was opening up. Mm-hmm. But still, it kind of shows just a half hour of what is entailed in editing audio. So just a 5-minute chunk took that half hour, but you saw the little unique challenges that arise from not just recording with Skype, but just inherent conversation flow issues. And I thought it might be kind of a cool idea to do specifically for a Patreon, just have these little tutorial videos on audio editing. And already I've piqued some people's interest with it. So that is something that I'm going to start just doing as I'm editing, because it's no skin off my teeth to do it when I'm editing. Just little tutorial videos, and you can ask me, how do you fix this issue? How do you cut words apart? It seems so easy, yet when I do it, it sounds like garbage.
You know what you should call it?
I use. What?
Player 4 Toots.
No, it's just going to be it's just going to be audio editing, because it's going to be unlisted links that I'm going to provide the link to via our Patreon, which again is patreon.com/player4podcast. It's just an additional service, and you get access to it with the $1 tier. So that's a little shameless plug there I had an outlet for.
I'll put it on the screen.
Awesome. So speaking of games, wait, we weren't talking about games, but we're talking about games now. The next thing on the list is I've been playing Words with Friends this week.
Wait, that's not on the list at all. I don't see WWF. I see PTCG and MTG.
Aren't we doing Words with Friends right now?
Oh, no. Okay, so after we get the flip out of here, we're going to wrestle because we have WWF.
Oh, you tricked me. I think he's a tricking me. Well, I have actually been playing Words with Friends a lot lately. But no, the thing is, I mentioned in the live stream with Brett last week that I had just become a Pokemon professor and that I was going to take my test this weekend. And I just wanted to reiterate the fact that I'm going on a trip this weekend to Oklahoma. Nobody goes there on accident. Everyone goes there on purpose.
Just to become a Pokemon professor?
Well, no, I already became a Pokemon professor. I'm going to Oklahoma to take my level 1 judge test for Magic.
Ah, okay. That was the second thing I was
So,
saying.
are you Professor Jade Dunlap?
What does the
I don't
professor
think you
even
get
do?
to. They're a judge and they're a tournament organizer.
Oh, so this is for Pokemon trading card game, and then
Wait, yeah.
judge. So you're basically becoming a judge for both versions, for both types of game. Well, both games.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And also the guy who I'm carpooling with that is the manager of the gaming store is also going to become a Magic judge this weekend if all goes as planned, and just got his background check done for becoming a professor, which made me salty because I took the professor test and did the application back in like May when I just started playing, and it took me until last week. And
I was going to ask
test
you.
this weekend.
I was going to ask you, like, based off your experience, which one seems more, I wouldn't say involved, but like maybe more intensive or something between becoming a Pokemon professor / judge and Magic the Gathering judge. But it seems like you were kind of in limbo at the Pokemon trading card game professor stuff, while Magic the Gathering seems more involved.
Was that a question?
It was a question / comment. Like which one would you say took more effort, I guess? Or
I can
were they
explain
both
the process.
Okay.
It's kind of like when I asked Malachi a question by asking Brett a question.
I mean, I asked a question and then followed it up with my own comment about my question.
Okay, so here's the process. To become a Pokemon professor, basic level, you take a simple test that just explains that you kind of understand the basic rules, as well as like different things like what direction do you turn the card to represent different status effects, like it's upside down if it's confused, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Policy questions like the way that you administer penalties based off of favoritism, which is bad, versus based off of maybe it's like 2 beginning players that are kind of younger and not in the running for prize support, meaning the packs that you get at the end. Maybe you might be a little bit more lenient with them. Different policy things like that are shared among all card games. So a lot of the policy stuff I was already prepared for because I'd already started my Magic the Gathering judge training at that point. Very simple test. And then after you do that, you finish up the application and you tell them why you should be a professor, which again is part judge, part tournament organizer. Because in order to have a league, you have to have a judge. And we did not have a judge. The 2 guys, the store manager and one of the more experienced Pokemon players, both failed the test on their first attempt, which meant they didn't know the game as well as they should have. Even though Logan, the experienced guy who taught me, and like we go back like a long time, should have known better because he plays online. And I'm calling you out, Logan. But he finally did.
Shots fired.
He finally passed the test this week. Okay, I took the test back in May. I was like, I need to be a professor so that we can have a league. And in order to even do pre-release events where we get to experience a set when it comes out in a limited format, we need to have a professor. Please make me a professor. They got back to me last week with my background check, and then I checked the website and it said I was a basic level professor. Unfortunately, I still don't have access to the professor tools on the profile, so I sent them a customer service email, and they're going to probably take about as long to get back to me as they have already taken.
Mm-hmm.
So then I got to the store on Friday, and I said, okay, I've been trying to get the league thing started. Brandon, the manager, goes, oh, yeah, so we heard from this professor, and apparently the store owner had asked her to set up a league for us. And I'm like, what? Well, apparently this process was started 2 months ago. And it took them 2 months to get the league started up, and her intent was to pass the league on to the professor when we got one. So I sent her a friend request on Facebook and a message, and she has yet to get back to me, and it's almost been a week. All that to say, it takes forever to get anything done in Pokemon. I say that, and then Brandon took the test on Saturday and has already done his background check like 3-4 days later. And so I'm a little bit salty. I think he got fast-tracked because I helped him do better on the test than I did originally.
Nobody wants to talk to Joseph.
Apparently not. And then Logan just passed his test, so hopefully he gets to be certified. So in our Discord for the store, he's like, we're going to be certified AF. So yeah.
As bleep.
Yeah, certified as lots of other bleep. That's the process of being a Pokemon basic level judge, which means your only function is to run a league. Now, let's move over to Magic the Gathering. The function of a level 1 judge, because they no longer have rules advisor, you go straight to level 1, is to judge local tournaments at regular rules enforcement level or REL. That means that you've got to be familiar with the documents pertaining to judging at regular REL, as well as the basics of the way that a tournament is run, the way that players are expected to behave at such tournaments, and the basics of the game. If you can teach the game to someone accurately, you probably know enough for level 1. Unfortunately, not everyone teaches the game correctly. So if you're listening to this, you're like, I know the rules well enough to be L1. You probably still don't. There's a lot of ins and outs and whatnots and what have yous, as the dude would say. So what was entailed was right around about a month before I started this whole process with Pokemon, I joined a study group on Facebook that's for people learning to become L1s. I went to a local conference where I got the ball rolling on mentorship because there are no judges within, 2 hours of me. And I'm talking like Fort Worth, Austin, and San Angelo. And they are all like 2 hours or more away from me. So the mentorship had to be entirely online instead of having someone nearby to mentor me. In fact, Brandon and I made our own study group where we would just meet at the store every Saturday. And the mentorship was in the form of not Discord, not Skype, not even GroupMe, but Slack. So that's yet another app I have to have on my phone.
What?
Yeah, Slack is essentially Discord. It's got some other functionalities, like anything that someone says could be turned into a thread, which means that you don't clutter up the conversation. You just go to a thread, which is kind of nice. I really like that. But otherwise, just like Discord, there's different, what's the word? Rooms, I suppose, would be the word. And so I've been getting study questions on Slack as well as on Facebook just for the past, 5 or 6 months at this point. And I think I'm possibly ready at this point. That's sarcasm because I'm over-prepared. Because as I said, L1 just means I need to know the way that the game works, how to do a tournament, and how to judge at a regular rules enforcement level, which is essentially the take-seat, backseat rules enforcement level. So there you go. Magic the Gathering, if you're becoming a judge, you got to know your stuff. Whereas to be a basic level Pokemon professor, you just kind of have to know something about the game and hope that they get back to you in a timely manner.
All right.
Now, I will add a footnote to that. There is an inherent issue with the professor program in Pokemon because there's no mentorship involved with it. It's just entirely online, take the test. There are inconsistencies in the way in which tournaments are judged. For example, lying to a judge in Magic is straight up you are disqualified. It doesn't matter what you lied about, even if your story changed between 2 iterations of it. Whereas in Pokemon, not everyone knows that. So they don't quite understand what a judgment call is versus a hard stance. There's a pro Magic player who went to a tournament and had a bad experience and quit the game entirely because of the inconsistency in the judging program. So there are drawbacks to it, but it has to do with making judgment calls. So that's it with my topic. I just, I felt like that was something that would be fun to talk about.
Just real quick, there's actually a problem with that. Like, people will actually just straight up lie.
If there's something on the line, people will lie. Not everyone will, but some people will. This particular situation, if I can go into detail for just 60 seconds, is you can concede at any time in most card games. Probably every card game, you can just say, okay, you win, right? And you scoop up all your cards. The scoop is usually the sign of the concession, but sometimes you'll extend a handshake, or you'll say, I concede, or you got it. Some sort of verbal confirmation accompanied by a physical confirmation. It's pretty obvious who's conceding in that case. Well, this pro player was at a tournament where his opponent, I'm assuming what they did was they played Tapu Lele and then went to search up a professor card that had no bearing on the outcome of the game. This pro player was about to swing for the game. So he looks at his opponent who's searching up the professor card. And he's like, so that's game, right? And he's like, yeah. And so he goes to scoop up his cards and the opponent calls the judge. And he says, yeah, he conceded. And he's like, no, I didn't. And he's like, yeah, you scooped up your cards. And he's like, yeah, because you agreed with me that was game. At that point, his story changed, and he said, no, you said you concede, which is not what he originally said.
Oh, gotcha.
And the judge sided with him and said, well, if you conceded, you conceded. And if the story changes in Magic, it doesn't matter what minute detail changed. You've lied to a judge, you're DQ'd, which discourages that kind of scummy behavior. Unfortunately, there will be people caught in the crossfire of, oops, I didn't mean to say that, but ultimately it stops that kind of behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. I didn't think about that part. Yeah, if you know you won, and then that's also kind of mildly his fault for even saying is that game is just like make sure is like, well, I have nothing else that I can do, and then he says then you would respond to it, but he kind of trapped himself in that. But it was also
I just assumed.
Well, no, but
I prefer to
also,
play out games.
Yeah, exactly. But that guy doing that is really scummy. Yes, but he screwed himself by not just letting him finish doing all his stuff and then make the final blow. You know.
I agree with you. It's not an ideal situation.
It sucks. But okay.
Well, let's turn to a lighter note. RTX London is happening this weekend / happened this past weekend.
Nice
after
segue.
recording.
We're going all the way to London. We're getting the heck out of here.
That's a great segue.
Yeah. Well, RTX is always a fun time.
Oh, yeah, I love RTX, and I'm excited that they're getting to do this in other continents, you know. London is something we're covering in this month's issue of Big Byte Magazine as well. I believe we're publishing an article from someone who is a guardian at RTX Austin, just because we had to push it, so we're pushing it to the RTX London issue. So what all do we need to know about RTX London, Alex?
That's happening October 14th and 15th, so it's only 2 days. I think Australia, or I guess they call it RTX Sydney now, is also only 2 days. RTX Austin is the only one that goes 3 days. Ruby Volume 5 is premiering on the 14th, so it's premiering at RTX London, but also out on the interwebs too.
That's pretty awesome.
They did that on purpose.
Nah.
That was smart of them.
Otherwise, I don't really have too much information just because I'm not going. It's different head guardians. Mary and Chris are not the head guardians. They don't do head guardians at Australia either. Those are different ones. But they basically train the head guardians that are going to be at the other ones. Everyone who goes to RTX London is going to be in good hands still. The Guardians are going to be awesome, as always. There's going to be some bumps and some things that might not work right off the bat because this is the first time that RTX is happening in London. It's going to be another great RTX.
And also RTX Misconnections.
Oh, I can't wait for that to come after RTX London.
What do you guys think, those listening and my co-host? Should I try and get contact with whoever it is that runs that account, let them stay anonymous and interview them?
You could try. It would certainly be an interesting interview there.
Just something I wanted to ask, everyone listening, let me know. Hit me up on Twitter, Joseph_Dunlap. Let me know.
Okay, I will go there right now.
I killed the conversation, guys. What about Ruby? Did Ruby win an award? Is that where we're going?
Sure, we can continue on with Ruby. I can't wait for Volume 5, by the way. But before that, they have won a Streamy with Ruby.
What's a Streamy? I
don't know. You have the details, Joseph?
I have the deets.
Give it to us. Lay it on us.
Even I want to stop listening to me. So Streamys is basically internet awards, internet Oscars, that kind of thing, but it's entirely by popular vote, and it's via hashtags on Twitter. So they just count up retweets.
Is this like the real version of internet points? Because you know how people are like, oh, you get internet points, you win the internet. This is basically the real version.
This is literally, winning the internet.
Continue.
Every time Gina says literally, I'm like, don't you mean literally?
I'm sorry, Gina. I'm sorry, Gina. You actually have to live with him.
Yeah, so Ruby won the popularity contest for animated, and then it came down to the best series overall. And Sugar Pine 7 was in the running, including editing and best comedy, and they didn't get those. And they had pretty much given up hope on winning. They were convinced that Philip DeFranco was going to get it, their fellow SourceFed family member. Philip DeFranco had already said that he was going to campaign as hard as he could this year, and then regardless of how he did, he was going to stop campaigning. Next year, he won't campaign for the Streamies. We're talking, people were tweeting Sugar Pine 7 for Streamies or whatever it was, SP7 for Streamies, up until the last second, and Sugar Pine 7 won the Streamies.
Wow.
Yeah, I was really excited because you guys remember when I brought them up on the podcast when I first started watching them, and I've just been enjoying their content so much. It's been nice to see them get this return on 6 months of really hard work with building their show after SourceFed went down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've actually been going back and rewatching, well, not rewatching, but catching up on the first episodes of Sugar Pine 7, which is basically the moment SourceFed said that they were going to shut down was the first episode of season 1 of Sugar Pine 7. And I've just sort of been trying to figure out how we're at where we're at. If you're wondering whether or not you should give them a try, give them a try. Watch a few episodes and keep an open mind, because it's actually really innovative in the way that they present everything.
They want a Streamy.
Yeah, it's a good show. It's not what you expect from a show. So if you're watching and expecting it to live up to some sort of hype or some other show, it's not going to hold up. But for what they're doing, it's actually very creative. So tell me about RWBY.
RWBY Volume 5 is coming October 14th, as we said already in this podcast. I watched the trailer here just recently. The animation got much better than what it was in 4, and 4 was pretty good animation wise. The one thing that I'm kind of iffy about is on the trailer, they showed some new stuff that's going to happen this season, but the Weiss parts and the Blake parts were really just from the shorts that they showed. There were like 1 or 2 scenes for each of those 2 characters that seemed to be coming from the actual Volume 5, but the rest were mostly from the shorts. So that kind of disappointed me a little bit, but we did get to see some new Yang, new RWBY and team. Looks like it's going to be an interesting one, of course. I'm excited for it. I'm sure Tristan's excited for it. Joseph, you're not as excited for it because you don't watch it.
I mean, I appreciate what they're doing, and I think that the entire team is awesome. Especially that Rick Guerrero guy, whoever he is. Apparently he's really good at what he does. I can appreciate what they're doing. It's just not a show that I watch.
And that's perfectly fine. RWBY's not for everyone, just like every other show is not for everyone.
Oh, hey, for some reason I brought up Day 5 in class one day, and one of my freshmen was like, that's a good show.
It is a good show. I still need to watch season 2, which now that I have decent internet, I plan on binge watching the crap out of.
You mean actual internet?
Yes, actual internet. And I just finished RVB season 15, so I wanted to get that caught up first. Then it's on to Day 5 and RWBY.
I definitely want to hear your impressions of Day 5, Season 2, Day 6. When you get it done, we can do a little reliving vicariously mini segment.
Yes, and we haven't really even discussed RVB Season 15 either.
You're not wrong. I need to catch up on that. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I have some thoughts on it, but we can hold off on that.
You guys been slacking off.
Hey, I've been busy. I don't know about you guys, but I've been busy.
Yeah, we know, because you were only here for the live stream.
Well, I also did an interview, so we're giving me crap.
No,
it's okay, Joseph. You do a lot. We know. We're happy and very appreciative of all the stuff that you do for us.
Hey, what did you guys think of the interview?
The interviews are always awesome. I really enjoy it. You always bring up great questions, and it's always cool to see who you have on. This latest one was really awesome because it's 2 people that are part of a successful and rising show and even have done work in other things. Yeah,
like the fact that Brett has a character in Walking Dead that's actually going to get more coverage this year.
Yeah.
Like, people are going to start recognizing him. They'll be like, oh, you guys interviewed that guy.
Oh, my God. Now we have to watch the Player 4 podcast. They're on top of it.
He called us cool as shit.
Well, I'm glad he enjoyed our conversation.
Yeah, he had a lot of fun talking to us. He's a pretty cool guy. I have some really exciting stuff planned for future interviews, just so you guys know.
Oh, my gosh. But we don't get to know until it's right on top of us. And then he's like, hey, by the way, for the live stream, we're having this person. And then we, lose our minds.
Were we
like I did last time? I was like, hey, by the way, a guy from Walking Dead's going to be on.
We're like, what the
My older sister's a big Walking Dead fan, and I sent her a picture of him from Walking Dead, and I was like, do you know who this is? And she's like, I have no idea who that is. And I'm like, he's a side character in Walking Dead that I'm going to interview. And she's like, is he a member of the whatever gang? Forget what it was called. And I was like, no, I don't think so. I think he's a delivery, he runs delivery runs for this hilltop community or whatever. And she's like, oh, well, I don't recognize him. But apparently he's going to get a lot more screen time this coming season, so that'll be cool.
So you will recognize him.
Yeah, he's pretty recognizable. Well, as I said on the live stream, when I was watching Captain America Civil War, I was like, wait, I recognize that beard. I know who that is.
That beard. I always love that you reference that beard.
It would,
You know how
Joseph
there's-
would be the one who says, I know that beard.
Okay, are you saying it's because I have a beard or because I just recognize actors really easily?
No, it's 'cause of the
I
beard.
feel like you have like a beard connection with people that have beards.
It's the beard mafia.
It's not pushing to the point of a fetish, is it there, Joseph?
All right, so the next thing on the topics,
Next thing on
will
our
say-
topics is getting the flip out of here.
I will say that there are some actors that only play side characters. And I'm not talking about Brett here, but there are some people that anytime you see a movie where you need a background nerd or something like that, there are some actors that's their living. There's a guy that was on, I want to say he was on Community and he was on Chuck, and he's on a lot of other shows and movies where he plays the same character. He's just a background nerd. Thought it was kind of cool.
I've noticed some of those here and there too in shows.
All right, so we're getting to get the flip out of here.
Yeah, we are getting the flip out of here.
Tristan, we miss you and we hope that you get rest.
Yeah, get lots of rest so we can play more Halo.
Malachi,
Yes.
are you still salty
I'm always salty. You're so
from
mean.
last week? I mentioned you in my class. I was like, so I have a friend that every time he gets mad, he says mouthful, and I make him mad a lot.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, Caboose. Hashtag goodbye.
Goodbye.
You're paying my butt. You know that?
Mouthful. So I literally told my music students, my freshmen, that sometimes we have to sacrifice our well-being for the sake of our art. I was referring to their need to breathe while they're singing. I said, sometimes you just have to die for your art. Like the body just has to suffer.
Yep.
Make it
You're
part.
gonna have to. You're gonna have to suffocate.
Make the
Mhm.
gas of air part of the music.
Well, I straight up teased a student today at her lesson because she's gotten this habit of breathing in the middle of phrases or words, and I'm like, apparently she thinks if she doesn't breathe there, she's going to die. I think that's what's going on. And she sort of made this face like, no, that's not what I'm trying to do, but yeah.
Thanks to the following patrons for making this video possible. Support us at patreon.com/player4podcast.